Appreciate you always for watching. All right, let's continue with what I was doing in part 1. This is part 2. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give dialogue in regards to what is the Manifesto of Freedom of Form. Why did Martin Roth Blake do this book? So I ordered this book from Amazon. This is pretty much what y'all looking at, the Amazon website. But I have the book right in front of me, starting on literal pages. Let's see. You have to go past literal 6 or 7 pages before you even get to the actual writing of the story, or his thoughts. Let's say his thoughts. It really means a story too, because his story is just a story. His thoughts are just a story. They're not like substantial. But he did have one point that I did agree with based on logic. And we'll get to that. I know it's shocking that I actually agreed with this guy about something. I think it's a guy anyway. From Transgender to Transhuman by Martin Roth Blake. And the reason why I say Martin instead of Martine is because there's an E at the end. So that's a VCV consonant blend. Okay? So let's go into it. I'm going to skip through, and over here to the right, this is Kamala Harris, Devi. She represents a goddess in India, the laughing goddess, the hackling goddess, and she's hackling at, this is Vance. And Vance looks like he's upset a bit because he doesn't think it's funny to think that he's weird when it's obvious that someone's looking over here like a clown, and then someone's looking over here like a little chicken, and then someone's looking over here like Levine, looking like somebody that needs to shave their legs, but all of those are men. So what I'm going to discuss is I'm going to discuss what parts of his book are logical and what parts of his books are emotional. So that would be illogical, because emotions sometimes are not logical. Emotions are ran by our lower baseline, which would be the side of you that's more animalistic. Okay, they call it fight or flight. Okay, so they're in fight or flight mode here, and he's just in fight mode. He's not going to flight, but ultimately these things are fleeting. They're like a fad. Everyone has the right to vote here. Everyone has the right to go to the grocery store. Everyone has the right to have insurance. Everyone has the right to drive. Whatever they need to do, buy clothes, pay taxes. Everyone on this screen I'm talking about, all these characters. However, somewhere in the mind, here in where we are in 2024, there are still people who are victims who say that they are not treated equally. But I think that the thing is, treated equally what? Treated equally when it comes to money, pay. Some people have some of the highest positions. Kamala's husband, of course, is a bisexual, and supposedly she's supposed to be the first non-gay president. We have Obama, of course. Time magazine said he was the first gay president. Then you have Michelle. Obama calls her Michael. Barry calls her Michael. I think Michael is a transgender slash hermaphrodite, meaning this person transformed themselves to look like a female. However, hermaphrodites actually are, I would throw more mercy towards hermaphrodites because they do have two body parts, one smaller than the other. I'm just assuming that that's a hermaphrodite. It has to be a hermaphrodite, even though Michelle never has children. Leah and Sasha I've seen her parents before, so it is what it is. It's all acting. So I already went through the content. So let's go to the page I was on last time, which is page 3. Of course, this is copyrighted material, but hello, Martin Roth child, no, Ralph Blake. I paid for the book. Okay, I just want them to visually see it. I can literally read the book. I own the book now. I paid for it. Okay, so let's see here. The shape of one's genitals would appear to be the most arbitrary bias for determining to which of two fundamental human classes a person should belong. Fundamentally means that it's a foundational thing. It's like it's very obvious that there are two classes of sexuality. Now, in the beginning of this his book, he said there are two sexes, male and female, right? Then he said wrong. So um, he sort of plays with words. He sort of kind of goes back and forward. He knows that he's rubbing the sex issue too far, but he needs to say it because in his mind that's what he thinks. He doesn't understand that sexuality is biology, sexuality is body, sexuality is baseline the avatar, and you have to stick the sexes with the avatar, male or female, man or woman. Now the arbitrary thing would be the gender, because it's more like, what do you put in spaghetti? How are you going to dress up your spaghetti? If a person's spaghetti, how would you dress up your spaghetti? How would you parade your spaghetti? And this is what they do. But the deception is there's no such thing as biology. There's no such thing as sex. There's no such thing. Sex is. There is no foundation to what sex is, but that's just a fallacy of the mind of a few folks, when it's been observed that there is a difference, but there are so many similarities that we have as men and women. So why don't we just celebrate the similarities and not placate in this game of confusion? I know why they're doing it. Watch my last video, part 1. I explain why this person is the way they are. It has to do with sexual rituals, and a lot of people don't have to deal with sexual rituals. Whether some people deal with it inside of the church, and some people deal with it inside of Hollywood, and some people deal with it inside of being born in wealthy oligarchic families. Okay, so the shape of one's genitals is not arbitrary basis for determining the two fundamental classes of a person should be attached to or belong to. It's not arbitrary. It's not just something just out there. Okay, it's solidified through biology. It just is. I did the video last time. I just told y'all. I showed pictures and everything. Just not doing it this time. How did we arrive at this situation? He asked. Observation, sir. Oh man. I don't know if this guy's a male or female. I don't know. I should look. Maybe I will. I may have seen an image of this person, because that's why I keep saying he. Searching systematically recognizable differences among humans. Categorizing people based on genital shape was a simple method for establishing a division of labor among early human communities. Now, he was to speak in regards to this is just a division of labor. This is just to make the man work hard and let the woman be at home. Let the man be the stronger vessel and the woman be the weaker vessel. Well, no, that's from observation. That's from biology. That's from you looking at the structure of the bones and the functions of the body parts and the fingers. The most guys have wide palms, even if their fingers are short. Their palms are very wide, wider than females, unless there's a deformity. Okay. Remember, if there's anything outside of the norm, most likely it's a deformity, like hermaphrodites. That's a deformity. I said why that's a deformity previous, and I'll say it again, because a lot of times we have those people who have those issues have twins, and sometimes the twin morph into the cell or the body of the other twin. We see some twins morphing, but then when they come out, there are two heads and two arms and two legs. Okay, so that's the morphing, but that one didn't swallow the other up well enough to where it's just one person. Don't ask me why that happened. It may be because of medication. We never know what parents are put on when they're carrying babies, 2 babies at that. Okay, so whether they know it or not. So it says here, searching back into prehistory, our ancestors recognized that genital shape was a systematical, recognizable difference among humans. You know, even our ancestors believed their lying eyes. So, sir, you might have to believe your lying eyes that something hanging and something not hanging is different. Categorizing people based on genital shape was a simple method for establishing a division of labor among early human communities. You divide up the work. If a woman has a weaker vessel, she shouldn't be carrying the logs. Maybe she could carry a vessel on her head that's not too heavy. You know, in some cultures, women still carry heavy things. And then the men wonder why these women can't carry babies long term. It's because you're being lazy. Guy with the strong structure, with the strong skeletal structure, you're being lazy. And they're carrying all that water all day long, and then they have to carry those babies. Shame on you. And then they wonder why. It says here, childbearing and child nurturing capabilities of women further lead our ancestors to establish a genital-based division of society. Look, he's speaking as if this kind of division is unsettling. I would say, no. There are things that a man is well capable of doing more than a woman. There are things women can do more than a man. Physically speaking, with the avatar, the body, and the avatar determines the sex. The avatar doesn't determine what kind of attitude or gender you want to present to the world, how you want to dress up your avatar. But we want to understand that we do not throw away the avatar that was given to us through birth. Parent didn't pick it, not at this point anyway, and you didn't pick it. So it's not an accident, as he said earlier in the book, that it's an accident. The birth is an accident. He thinks his whole life is an accident. Once people go within and deal with all the sodomizing and all of the incest and all of the ritual, a whole bunch of stuff, and going from foster home to foster home and being not dealt with properly from foster home to foster home. Once that person deals with these issues, family members taking advantage of you, once they deal with that, priests taking advantage of you, bishops taking advantage of you, popular gospel singers taking advantage of you, popular R&B singers taking advantage of you, popular executives of hip hop taking advantage of you. I'm just naming a whole bunch of folks that's going through these issues. There's a whole bunch of rappers and hip hop singers and R&B singers that are literally trying to help change the determined fundamental classes of humanity. They're literally trying to work towards convincing people that having a different body part doesn't mean that you have to be labeled different. I beg you, different. Okay, so unless you have a deformity, I'll keep going back to that. So, as civilization advanced, extensive gender-based rituals, see, he's talking about this ritual, and customs reinforced the ancient genital-based division of society into men and women. So now, because things have been long-term determined, I guess he's saying we in a modern time now, we don't need to listen to our ancestors about genitalia, huh? That it was based on division. You had to divide the work up. And believe me, I'm not going out there mowing no yard unless I'm on a ride lawnmower. That man I'm married to, that man's body that's bigger than mine, he can go out there and push that lawnmower. Now, if he gets sick, I might, push a little bit. But I'm make sure he gets well. Or I have another man to do it. I will weave it because it's not so heavy. But my body, I'll be sore all day long. And my husband look at me like, you sore? Yeah. Our biology makes a difference. I'm not gonna go out here and try to compete with a man. Not even with a teenage boy. Today's progressive people accept as self-evident that genital morphology shape is irrelevant to one's productive role in society. So he talks about productive role in society. Yes, you can be productive in a role you play in society. You can be an accountant, an IRS worker. You can be a bank teller. You can be a cement worker. You can be a CEO. You can be an NEO. You can be a government worker. You can be a nursery worker. And that productive role is useful to society, but that doesn't mean that your body part, being who you are, the avatar, acknowledging your avatar as male or female, does not mean that hinders you in society from being able to be productive. You can be very useful playing the role of a male, your avatar, or a female, your avatar, in society. You may have to play show and tell outside of your job. But those people who were raised on the Barney the Purple Dinosaur, everyone is special, special. Everyone is special. Everyone in his or her own way. Those children born around the late 80s, the early 90s, the ones in their 30s, they're struggling and straining. Struggling and straining. Mentally, everything affects them. The world isn't perfect. And those of us who are well in age look and say, when has the world ever been perfect? They don't have to deal with anything that looks like the Ku Klux Klan, and they still crying. You don't have to be paid $7.25 an hour or $3.25 an hour. And in those days, it still didn't buy much. In my young days, it didn't buy much. $3.25. It did not buy much. It still kept you in poverty. Don't be fooled, people. Don't be fooled. Hence, whatever relevance genitalia shape had for a division of society into men and women in the past, those reasons and traditions are obsolete, he says, as we move into the 21st century. Now, how did I know that this guy was going to go there and say, oh, this is the modern age, this is the new age, this is a new world order. And so this old stuff, it can pass away. No, you can't throw away something that's logical. If you throw away logic, then you will find insanity manifesting, happening. Now, is that what they want? Is this what this writer wants? Insanity, anarchy, without anybody having real foundational common sense? Maybe so. Because, like I said in the last video, a lot of people have been opened up or have opened themselves up to walk-ins. Now, in the Christian world, call it possessions. And a lot of people, like Oprah Winfrey had a show a long time ago, and she was talking about, she had this female on talking about she had 21 identities. Where she had, and Oprah said, well, how do you have 21 identities? I think it was even more than that. I remember one at the end. And the lady was saying because she has different voices in her head. She had one vessel, which was a avatar that was female. She could produce children, so that says she, she's a female. She can birth children out of her vagina. Even if you don't have a vagina and you had one, you're still a woman. Despite the vagina missing, your avatar is still a woman. Because that's what you came as. And whether you love yourself or hate yourself, that's for you to deal with. No one can make this world perfect for you. No one can make you feel special. I promise you. You're climbing up the wrong tree. You're digging down the wrong hole. If you're looking for the outward world to satisfy your reality, it will never be satisfied. If I look to you, and those of you who want me to believe that, I look at my avatar and I see I'm a female avatar because I have a vagina and I have breasts and my body structure is different. My hip bones are shaped different than a man's hip bones, and my uterus area is different. My breasts have a layer of fat here, and then it has milk ducts here, and I don't have to take medication to make stuff come out of them that's really not milk. But anyway, if I need you to convince me that I'm a beautiful woman, I'm in a bad place. I'm DID, dissociative identity disorder. I'm dealing with disassociating myself. Prime example, Sasha Fierce and Beyonce. I always use it as an example. Sasha Fierce helps Beyonce get on stage and be fierce. Now, who is Sasha Fierce? Well, according to Beyonce, it's another person. It's another person. Maybe it's a person who's died, and they may have been capable of doing all those dances when they were here prior. It's very obvious in Hollywood that those people in the R&B world, hip hop world, those people are involved in sexual rituals that possess them with walk-ins. And this is what I think these people be dealing with, sad to say, walk-ins. And until they own up and deal with the trauma of the past, don't look over here at me and say, accept me, believe in me, say I'm a woman. I'm going to look at you and say, I'm not doing a darn thing you say. You can't tell me nothing. I've seen a lot of these men that's dressed up like women try to intimidate little women. Women that are like 5'2", 5'4", 5'7". They're like 6'2" and 3" and big as a mess. They turn into demons once they can't get someone to obey them. Why does it matter that I don't see what you see? Why must I have lying eyes? Why do you require me to have lying eyes? I understand your eyes lie to you. I understand that your definitions lie to you. There is a way that seems right. But at the end of that way, that's not logical, leads you to the end that you don't say you want. But you want it if you can't get your way through me or through somebody else believing you. That doesn't move when people say, well, if you don't let them have their way, they're going to bloop, bloop. Look, that's their choice. And if they feel that way, so desperately that way, and no one admit that you're sick and you need to get well, then you know, not Gavin Newsom, the other California's, not California, Canada's, it's all C-A-C-A, Canada's prime minister or president, people say, oh, you distressed, come on over here, we'll remove you off the planet. They don't even sit down and try to explain to you what you're going through. They just dope you up with medication. And when the medication don't work, because the medication cannot change the heart and the mind of a person, the person must work on their own selves. All right, so enough of that. Unfortunately, the gender-based rituals that grew up around genital distinction still weigh heavily on our heads. He's talking about their, not my head, on their heads, people like him. Because he called it a gender-based ritual, meaning this has been conjured up. No, sir, it's observational. It's observational. And this is what those who are stubborn don't want to accept. Those who have eyes and can't see, ears that cannot hear baseline observational truth. He says, as noted scientist Richard Lewontin has observed, it doesn't matter if you're a scientist. I was on the video talking about Dr. Anthony Fauci, the Jesuit, the one that's taken an oath to bash the heads of women's fetuses to the wall if necessary. They go look at the vow. It'll shake you. You will never trust anybody that's a Jesuit again. And I can name some people that are Jesuits that's in the government right now. And they're literally psychotic killers. And they'll look you right in the face and smile at you. I think they're helping these people kill themselves too, hurt themselves too. They're saying it's people, normal people that's doing it. No, normal people just say, what you doing? You hate yourself? Why you hate yourself? Let's sit down and talk about why you hate yourself. I don't hate myself. I hate you. Like, okay, why do you hate me? Because you don't agree with everything I say, God damn it. You be like, but I can't agree with everything you say. Because that would be me leaning to emotions instead of using my mind. People want you to lean in on your emotions instead of using the brain you got. You have to use what you got to get a result you want. And truly, he's trying to use his brain here to convince people to agree that his disorder, the DID, is not DID, but it is. And when you say it is, and they say, you hate me, I don't know you enough to hate you. Tell me some stuff about you. Then maybe you might be right. What have you done? You a pedo? What are you, a narcissist? What are you? You steal from old people? What are you? You work on the stock market? What are you? What? Tell me some stuff that I detest. And then I'll let you know if you just need me to hate you. And then that hate won't last but for the moment because I don't waste my time hating people. I just shake my head at you and say, poor baby. All right. So, as noted, he talked about that Richard guy, the immense superstructure of attitude and social power that has been built historically on the basis of biological sex differences has long ago become independent of the actuality of that biology. So he's saying that it's been so immersed in the superstructure of attitude. Okay, attitude. Attitude is something you can't touch or feel, you know what I'm saying? However, attitude is expressed, just like gender is expressed, attitude is expressed. So there's a superstructure of expression. There's a superstructure of this is not good and this is helpful. This is harmful, this is healthy. This is nonsense, this is baseline good. Good for you, not good for you. And social power that has been built historically. So, to him it's all about power. To him it's all about somebody controlling him. No, it's you just wanting someone else to say that you, whether you cut it off or not, having a penis and calling yourself a woman is logical. And forget a superstructure. Okay, if the superstructure said men, if superstructure said the person with a penis is a woman and the person without a penis is a man, and it was written that way from the beginning, this person would still complain, because then he'd be like, well, I want to be a man. And then they'll say, well, you have a penis, you can't be a man, you're a woman. Well, I want to be a man. Wait a minute, but you have a vagina, you can't. Wait, see what I'm saying? If this person is a man and the superstructure said, as he says someone with a penis, we're going to label them a woman. And the superstructure, as he says, here go a female with a vagina, we're going to name this female, but we're going to say a man. We're going to do the opposite. He still would complain because the disorder will not allow him to register the simplicity, even though he calls it simple earlier in the writings in his book. Even though it's simple, he still can't register it as simple. He wants to register as, I want my Burger King way. It's almost like reasoning with a 2-year-old throwing a tantrum. And I've had several 2-year-olds in my day. And you cannot reason with them because their brain isn't, they're missing some stuff. And believe it or not, you can have full-grown adults walking around here missing the elements they need I mean, maybe some of these people didn't crawl, or maybe when they were babies they weren't held, or maybe they weren't. I don't know, but all this wordiness he's doing is not convincing. Okay, so it says has been built on historically on the basis of biological sex. So he acknowledges that biological sex. He knows biological sex is what it is. He just wants to be able to fuss and complain about it. He doesn't like the system. There are things in the system that are just fine. They want to be revolutionaries when it comes to biology, I guess. They want to be able to say, this game we're playing, we need to distort it. Why? So that other beings can come in plain sight and be on Earth with us? I don't know. The ones that's in the government underground bunkers, they can come out. Yeah, did y'all see that Godzilla movie with the what is this character? It was like a dragon. They were, I forgot the name of the anyway, move forward. Put it in the description comments if y'all know what I'm talking about. It was Godzilla, and then there was King Kong, and then there was another character that lived in the earth, and it was like a dragon that could fly. I forgot the name of that character, which is a goddess or something. Despite the apparent irrelevance of genitals to a person's capabilities, right? I don't even know why you bring it up that a person's private parts has anything to do with their capability of being smart. That's why you shouldn't even bring it up, other than on your resume, are you male or female? Because they may need to give you days off for having a baby, or maybe they need to understand. Oh, she may get sick through the month, or maybe they may, if they need to know you male or female, to see whether they need to put you on the area of the job where you have to lift boxes, 40-pound boxes a day or 20-pound boxes a day. And they may not want to put a female over there because females' bone structure isn't as strong as a man's bone structure. And far and in between, there are exceptions, but that's because that person's a professional supplement protein shake taker that may have taken some shots to enhance themselves, some steroids or something. We're going to keep it real. I'm not about a lying spirit. I don't do lying, and I don't like liars. I don't play around with liars. I don't play with lies. I like things transparent. I like things to be understood. Because these be the same people that say that they can be in love with little boys. And then they look at you and say, what's wrong with that? And the reason why they say that is because, not all of them, but the ones that do, because they've been messed with in that way. And you think they're normal like you. You think they've lived a pretty normal life. Get fussed at, get put in punishment, get your stuff taken from you, get made to wash dishes, mow the yard, do your homework, go to bed at a certain time, get told off when you ain't doing right. That's normal. And if you got treated any better than that, you blessed beyond exceedingly. Exceedingly blessed. Because most parents, they look upside their children's head and straighten them up. And say, get your act together, or you won't have computer time, or you won't have a cell phone, or you won't go to the swimming pool. Because nobody owes you anything. Do right, you get blessed. Do wrong, sit down somewhere. Just sit down somewhere. Write a letter to yourself. Talking to yourself. Explain to yourself why you need to do better. Okay, this has been made clear in several cases dealing with transsexuals. No one says you can't work if you mess your body up through transsexual operations. I don't know why this guy quite doesn't. I do know why, but I'm I can't reason with this kind of thinking because it's not logical. It's like double speak. It's like this person must be either unbalanced or they're playing with you. And they just want their way. They're a secret narc that wants their way. Period. And a lot of people be saying, "Oh, they so weak." No, they whooped your ass. You let them. They pull them wigs off and turn into a man on you. I seen that in action on the video this past week. And the guy was telling the lady that I don't know if he called her a cis woman, black cis woman or something, and she was like, she's not a cis woman. Then he got mad, and she was like, well, I'm just telling you, I'm not. Don't bother me with that. You know, she didn't want to be labeled that. Well, he says that's what we call y'all. She's like, I don't want to be labeled that. I'm a woman. And so he got pissed and started following her with his dress on and stuff. And then when she said, I'm gonna call the police, then he get an attitude and say, oh, I'm a trans woman. How dare you, a black woman, try to divide us or something. She looking like, bro, she didn't say it back to tell. She was like, bro, you a dude. Stop acting like you're me. It's so insulting. Evidently it was meant for the feminine movement to break down and fall apart. Because there's no need for a woman to argue with a man about whether or not she's gonna work. Just go do what you gonna do. But understand who gonna suffer for it. Them children gonna suffer for it. Now there are parents who don't care about their children suffering. Suffering how? You gotta give your children quality time at least up to 7 to 8 years old. Because if you do not spend time with them up to 7 or 8 years old, the school, the indoctrination camp, school, public school, will indoctrinate your children. Okay? And it will be against you. Exactly. And that's not hyperbole. Okay? So, move on. Despite the apparent irrelevance of genitals to a person's capabilities, the legal system in the United States defines men as people with penises and women as people with vaginas. Okay, I agree. Because of the avatar. This has been made clear in several cases dealing with transsexuals, persons who claim to be women despite their birth with a penis, a person with a vagina who claims to be man or men. They're just claiming it. You're just claiming it. That doesn't mean it's true. Do I need to show what claim is? That doesn't mean it's true. Anybody can claim anything they want. But realistic people gonna say, sit down somewhere and stop that lying. Why are you always lying? Stop that lying. Why are you always lying? Stop that lying. We're talking about biology here. We're not talking about gender. We're not gonna blend them because we must respect our avatar. You need to love what you came in. Don't hate the avatar. It's your transport system in the game. Without your avatar, you won't be able to eat, sleep, have relations, dance, sing. You won't. You'll just be a fleeting spirit or ghost. Okay. Wow. Okay. In cases dealing with marital, business, and criminal rights, courts have regularly held that one's sex is determined by one's genitals. So they're saying the courts agree with this, businesses agree with this, marital dealings agree with this. Because that's the superstructure that he's talking about. That's why they must break down the structure of the United States of America. They must make it into a place of chaos, I guess, to bring fake order, a new world formulated with a different kind of order, which will not make them happy no matter what. For example, a person with a penis who has lived 20 years as a woman will not be allowed to marry a man. I don't know if that's true in all states. But a person who undergoes a surgical transformation of the penis into a vagina will be immediately allowed to marry a man. It depends on what state. Now, that statement right there is the thing that I say, oh, okay, I get what you're saying here. A person with a penis who's saying they're a woman is allowed to marry is not allowed to marry a man, because that person hasn't destroyed, I guess, themselves. They haven't rid themselves of organs. But then a person who undergoes surgical transformation goes through gutting themselves. No turning back. They can marry a man. Now that doesn't mean, sir, that doesn't mean that this person is a woman. They're just able to marry another man because now they strip themselves of an identity. They can say they're a woman all day long. That doesn't still make them a woman because they don't have a womb that will carry a child. And if a woman had a uterus that could carry a child, but she had to have surgery for cancer, she's still a woman. If a man removes his parts to say he's a woman, he's still a man without the parts, because you have to deal with the original avatar, the bone structure. It is what it is. So I do understand why he's like fussing about this. Well, why are they permitted to marry? No offense, but they can do that now. So this book is pretty old. See how far we have sunk. But do people want to marry? I know a woman that married a bridge. Not personally, but I know of a woman that married a bridge. I know people who, because it's just paperwork, okay? I don't even think she should have been able to marry the bridge because the bridge didn't give permission. People that try to mess around with their animals, for real. That's a warped mind. Because that's, even if your so-called lover came back and he was a dog and you realize that's your love, you're going to have to stay with your own kind, human. I'm not talking about the color of the avatar. I'm talking about human. Human. It doesn't matter what the color of the avatar. We can all share blood. Some of us have different type of blood, so everybody can share blood with each other. But it doesn't matter if you have melanated skin or Caucasian skin. If you have a certain blood type A, you can share blood. Okay. Then there's I think you share with everybody. Then there's another blood type out there that's I think it has another strand in it, and that's more of a serpent bloodline, which is quite interesting that it exists. Interesting. So while men and women are defined by the genitals, the significance of the genital differences no longer justifies the social and legal division of society into two classes of people. When people do some drastic things to themselves, like this guy with the purple lipstick on, that doesn't mean that what's defined as woman and man no longer exists just because people doing this. That doesn't mean that what is foundational isn't foundational. Okay, so in an advanced society, let me go back up, y'all. The division of labor in an advanced society is not based on sexual status. So he says, what we do every day, the labor we do every day in a modern society, he said advanced but modern, is not based on sexual status. You shouldn't be dealing with sexual status other than them letting them know, look, I'm not carrying that 20 pound, 40 pound box every day. I only weigh 135 pounds. Get a grip. You need to come over here, fella, 175. Slim Jim, you can carry that. I'm not gonna do it, Slim Jim. I need to put on a little bit more weight in order to do that. And women that put on a little bit more weight to be able to carry that still have to lift it up on their breast, and that hurts. Won't do it. And some people, women that want to embody and be a man will do it. They'll wrap their chest up and they'll try to do it, and then in a few years they're having back problems. They're crying when their menstruation comes on. So, and that's why we're so different These people that want to put ketchup and hot sauce in they panty liners on they bloomers. Look, please stop insulting women. Women go through so much. The biological woman goes through so much. Our hormones change before and after our cycle and during our cycle, and I'm telling you, it will have you a mad person. You literally don't feel like yourself. You literally feel like nobody but bother me. You don't come over here saying some crazy crap that you always say during this time of the month. Because patience is on a 12%. Forget 50, 12. 12. I would say 10%. 12. Don't come over here with your bull crap. Women be almost in demon mode. And if they're not in demon mode, they literally be out give up. I give up. And these men be hopping around here, all happy and shit. Ooh, all excited because about some days after that, I'm going to have joy. And you want to be a woman? I know women look glamorized, but believe me, maybe we look glamorized because we suffer. We suffer at least 1 week after month. We suffer like a dog. And some women don't because they're taking something, a shot or something that's going to cause them to suffer later on. If you don't suffer now, baby, you're going to suffer later on. Listen to me, young females that have the avatar they have of vagina. If you don't allow yourself a free body not to be medicated, you will suffer later on. You're going to have to just be responsible and don't mess with anybody that you're not willing to be in a long-term relationship with. Just don't do it. I know he's fine. I know he drives a nice car. I know he all manly. I know. Don't do it. Okay, next topic is, are genitals but the tip of the iceberg? That's the question. Is genitals what you see on the top of the surface of the water? That's what he's saying. Is there something bigger underneath the water? Well, unless you're talking about all these different hybrid beings on the planet, no. I just talked about if there is anything underneath the water, it would be with the female. It would be with the stuff that you don't hear about that females go through. Like the female, the woman, the person with the uterus, not just the empty spot down there with a hole in it. Okay. It might be argued that genitals are but the tip of the sexual differentiation iceberg. Don't women have XX chromosomes and men have XY? Doesn't this chromosomal differentiation give rise to a wide variety of clear differences between the sexes? Hormonal balance, reproductive capabilities, physical abilities, mental thought patterns? Surprisingly, the current scientific answer to these questions is increasingly no, or at least ambiguous. You need to stop. Stop playing. You sound like a fool. This guy talks out both sides of his mouth. This guy either does not have a reasoning capacity. This person has not been taught how to separate things and separate, compare, contrast. This person doesn't know how, no way this person knows how to say the obvious. XX chromosome, women. XY chromosome, men. That's why you know it's a disorder. Because he's literally saying sexual biology. He literally knows biology has everything to do with sex. And the biology is with the avatar, the body you come in. And so you leave that alone and say that's a woman, that's a man, based on the biology, the body. And yet he turns around and says, and I also know the XX chromosome woman and XY chromosome man. That's what he says. When you talk about mental thought pattern, men and women have crazy thoughts, happy thoughts, sad thoughts. Physical abilities, okay, we can lift up some of the same things. We can push some of the same things. We can pedal some of the same things. Maybe not the same speed, but still, Reproductive capabilities. Okay, men shoot it out and women carry it and suffer for 9 to 10 months, and then be scared to death to have the child until you have a couple. Surprisingly, the current scientific answer, he says, to the question is increasingly no. Increasingly no? What is this, a mob vote? What is this? Democracy? What does democracy have to do with logic? So we're going to follow the mob. The mob can be wrong. Now, what if the mob now is totally opposite of what he thinks? He don't cry about it because he wants to depend on democracy as an equalizer for some type of injustice that's been bestowed upon him and replace it with justice just as he thinks it should be. That's his justice, just as he thinks it should be. That's the only justice he's looking for. I'm reading this guy's language and I'm getting stirred up because I'm dealing with a liar here. I can't stand a liar. I can't stand a liar. I can't stand a liar. I don't hate you, guy, because I don't know you like that. But your wording, I can't stand a lying wording. I can't stand deceptiveness. That's why when I touched this book the other day and I first got it, I opened it up. Okay, fine. When I clicked on it on the Amazon website to show y'all, because I got the book right here on my desk. See the pages? See the pages? Y'all hear the pages? I touched that mouse. I felt both of my hands had this feeling in them. I said, oh boy, should I read this book or not? Because I know this book is low as frequency to the utmost. Ooh, is it worth it? Should I just throw it in the trash? No, I'm going to read it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel all vile and low things that come with this book that maybe they did a ritual over. I call all things that are attached to this book that has an assignment canceled, null, and void. See, I already know nothing formed against me that is diabolical will ever be able to do that which it was sent out to do by the sender or the sendees. It just can't do it, can't do it, can't do it. Why? Because I'm over my reality. But though I'm over my reality, I understand that inside of this game, there are observational things that I can see with my own eyes. And if I use my brain the way it's supposed to be used and not let my emotions supersede my brain, I'm going to be able to live a usable and pleasant life and be at peace in my mind because I'm not troubling myself with buffoonerism. And why is it buffoonerism? Because it doesn't collapse. It doesn't flow. It's irradical. It's illogical. It just is. But let's continue. First, it is not true that all legally defined women are XX and all legally defined men are XY. He said legally defined. He's trying to be petty here. Legally defined. Somebody went in here like this last comment up here he talked about right here about the man marrying the man. He's trying to be slick here. We're talking about biology. We're not talking about legalities. We're talking about biology. We're not talking about what someone can do in a courtroom by moving the courtroom, the circus, standing on the getting a docket typed up and standing on the base of the ship. See, exactly. So, people trip. Humans, hundreds of thousands of people are born with all manners of chromosomal variations, including XXY and X, among others. Remember I said earlier about hermaphrodites? That's a deformity. Anything outside of XX, XY are deformities. It may be a blending of two twins, one absorbs the other. It's not as simple as this guy's saying. What's the baseline, the grassroots? You gotta have, what do they call it? when you do scientific observations, you have to have a group that's not been messed with. Okay, I forgot what it's called at this present moment, but when you're doing not observational theory, but when you're doing scientific hypothesis, what is it called? I can't even think of it right now. But anyway, you got to have a baseline. Okay, and that baseline must not be interfered with. We got. Maybe I'll think of it later on. I'm hungry, y'all. I'm hungry. It's gone past lunch. So let's go on. It says here, the Olympics has ceased using chromosomal tests for a second X as means of disqualifying women after certain athletes, namely persons with a vagina, a long life female gender identity. Boy, let me go back and read that. The Olympics have ceased using chromosomal tests for a second X as means of disqualifying women. He's saying a woman, he must be talking about a guy that calls himself a woman. Let me go up here. Let me go back. Okay, go ahead. Let's see. Hundreds of thousands of people are born with all manners of chromosomal variations, including XXY and X, among others. The Olympics have ceased using chromosomal tests for a second X as a means of disqualifying women. Yeah, he's saying that women are XX, but they're not going to even look for another X in order to disqualify who he calls a woman as a means of disqualifying women. So he's saying, okay, after certain athletes, namely persons with a vagina, a lifelong female gender identity. So he's really not talking about a female. Anyway, but one X chromosome were cruelly disqualified right at the quadrennium event. Similarity. So he's saying there was somebody with a 1X chromosome. I can only hear who did that up in the lab. I'm not talking about you government. I'm just saying. You know, y'all little black projects y'all have. Genoming. Anyway, and those people that make it to the Olympics, a lot of those people are not exactly like you are. Let's just say that. Especially in NBA. Oh my goodness, it's so fake it makes no sense. NFL, so fake it makes no sense. It's so fake. Sorry guys. Similarly, and a few females that enjoy that. The famous transsexual Renee Richards. Why everybody got Richards that he write about? Renee Richards was ordered by a judge to be accepted into women's tennis competition despite her XY chromosome makeup. Ooh, he came out with this little, somebody showed up with an X at the Olympics. Oh, he was somebody with an X. Now you're going back to somebody who actually has an XY. You little bitty try to be a little deceiver. But anyway, the way he speaks is just deceptive. Into women's tennis competition despite her XY chromosome makeup. Did he say her? X. See, that's a man. So let me go back. Renee Richards was ordered by a judge to be accepted into women's tennis competition despite his XY chromosome makeup. I don't want to make a mistake and call her a XY. I don't want to do that. I don't want to lie. The judge found, I don't care what the judge says, it's just an actor anyway, in the circus, on the circuit, on the sea, on the dock, with written dockets. The judge found her no different from any other, oh my goodness, ovotomized and hysterectomized woman. Oh my goodness. Oh, so somebody had a hysterectomy and somebody got their ovaries removed. He's saying that this person must have had all that removed, and it's just the same as a woman who had the hysterectomy, just like a woman that had the ovaries removed. Yes, you can have that. Shut my door. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Chromosomes are an unreliable means of classifying society into sexes. You sound like a fool, but are better for a continuum of sex types. I'm gonna say this. It's just like the people that want to argue that incest and rape for abortion is what they're standing up for, and it's like, no, that's 0.027%. That's not even 1% of the people that's getting abortions. What are you talking about? The people who are diabolically destroying their would-be child, they're not raped or incest. But then they all concerned citizens, because even these people that know, they just want to, well, I messed up. I was in college. I was sleeping around, and blah, 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 like Whoopi Goldberg. She didn't know college stuff. Sleeping around, and I got rid of 9. Hee hee ha ha. It's like, y'all got to stop this lying spirit. Y'all lie too much. Why are y'all always lying? Stop your damn lying. But they can't. They can't do it because they love Buff, the greatest of all time, the GOAT, the GOAT. I think maybe that's who's Gino in them underneath the ground in the black projects that a lot of people don't know about. And that if you talk about it, they start trembling. They start trembling because they just want to be in a fallacy world. They don't want to be an adult. I don't want to be a true adult. I don't want to hear that. Exactly. I could say some other stuff that would help you to grow up. And it doesn't matter how old you are. You can still be immature. Because I remember there was a lady in a, let's say there was a place that I had membership at. And this lady was at least 79 years old. And this lady literally was talking to teenagers about she still having sex. And the kids were giggling and laughing. They couldn't believe this old lady was saying this. And she doesn't have a husband. And the kids come running telling me, because I was one of those who did activities for them. Especially the teenagers, I always provide them the means for activities for them. And I went to her cousin who was a little bit younger than her. I think he was like 75. And I asked him to speak with her in regards to, please, can she not cause teenagers who are already going through trying to figure themselves out, can she please not act like someone that has can she stop acting like someone who doesn't have a sound mind? Can she please care that that's somebody else's grandchildren? It wasn't her grandchildren, it was somebody else's grandchildren. Can people please have some regard for other people's seed? But no, they don't want to. They don't want their own, and they want to pillage and rape your own. Huge. Chromosomes are an unreliable means of classifying society in 2 sexes. That's why I was saying the biology, the what you got down there. What you got? Because we're not talking about judging you off of, like with the abortion thing, 0.027. This is what people do. They say, let's say they're in society, there's only a small percentage of hermaphrodites who got merged with 2 twins, got merged, their body parts got merged. Why are you acting like you talking like that's you? Why don't you just admit why you want to do what you want to do? Well, they're not going to accept my way, so I got to use that as an example. The flexibility kind. Well, what if those people say stop using them as an example? Can you stop doing us like that? Maybe we don't want to be all out there saying that, we got 2 body parts, because common sense would tell you that's a deformity. That doesn't mean that those people are evil. That doesn't mean that those people are bad, the ones that have deformities. It just means that something didn't go right in the programming of the genes. Could be custom medication. And these days they'll give you any kind of medication. If your insurance is good enough, they sure will. Oh yes, they will. Second, sex-based chromosomal differentiation appears to be relevant only in triggering different amounts of estrogen and testosterone. Both men and women produce both estrogen and testosterone. I said that. Although in different amounts. I said that earlier. Your original body is your body. It doesn't matter if you slice it, dice it. It's your body. It's the character you came in. And until you leave this planet and this game called life inside of this simulation, that's what you're responsible for. You're responsible to be on this planet, appreciating and walking out what it is you want to do in that male body, what you want to do in that female body. You denying through chromosomal differentiations and the triggering different amounts of estrogen and testosterone. So if I pump in more testosterone into me and I'm a guy, then I become a woman. No, you came here as a guy. You're going to be a guy. It doesn't matter if you cut off the pecker and you take the chest. It does not matter. Just say you're nothing. I'm just a human. Especially if you get it all whacked off. Now you're just a human. A hue of a color. Both men and women produce estrogen and testosterone, although in different amounts. This further shows the chromosomal similarities of all people. No one ever said there wasn't similarities, but that does not. It's like he said, this equivalently says makes what I say right. It does not. It doesn't. I've been saying this the last video too. I laid out all the similarities. The guys got 5 things similar to women in their breasts, but they just don't have the things that the woman has to produce milk. And we have an extra layer of fat. And they probably get some fat that eat enough hamburgers and fried chicken. They probably do, but I don't know if it's going to be the same kind of fat that's going to sit up there or whether it's going to sit in their belly. I don't know. Portions of X or Y chromosomes appear ultimately to govern the relative amounts of estrogen and testosterone produced, creating a continuum of male and female possibilities. Is this person talking about behavior? Because hormones deal with your behavior. Like, hormones will mess with your attitude that you can't see. That's an imagination thing. That's a mind thing. We're talking about sex, biology, the body. So even if you shoot yourself up with a whole bunch of testosterone or estrogen, that doesn't make you what you want to be. It's too late. You came here a certain way. Like I said about hermaphrodites. They might can get away with this because they know that there's a deformity going on. And then somebody says, oh, that's just so mean. Well, goddamn it, that's the truth. Gee whiz. What am I supposed to do? Tickle your ear and lie to you? Tell you I'm giving you honey. I'm slap pouring vinegar down your throat. No, I'm going to tell you this vinegar, baby. And they're not going to taste good. But it's going to go in there and help them worms in your belly. Get rid of all that, help that infection you got. Get rid of them gut worms. Anyway. At least fermented anyway, fermented stuff. Anyway, now he wants to be a doctor. Let's go ahead. When certain hormonal thresholds are reached, male or female reproductive organs are created. Yeah, that's in the beginning. Yeah, do anybody understand what I'm saying when I say in the beginning? The beginning. The specific levels of hormonal production and their timing of release are different for each person and results in a continuum of maleness and femaleness. See, when you say maleness, This is like, it's not adjectives or descriptors, but it's sort of, it's almost like adverbs where there's some physical action going on. There are some physical attributes going on, like maleness. behaviors, femaleness behaviors. Because remember, the hormone, though it causes, periods and chest hairs and all that, to the avatar is already set. The avatar is already either male or female. So even if you pump more testosterone into let's say a male's body, that doesn't mean he's gonna be more male. And if you pump more estrogen into a female avatar, that doesn't mean she'll be more female. Because female body is set from birth, and male body is set from birth. So anything more, the nextness that this person is talking about would be activities that look like what guys do. It look like what females do. It's the action. It's the attributes. It's not the person body. It's not the solidified body. The solidified body was there at birth. It was there before birth. It was being formulated as the X or Y chromosomes were assembling themselves, trying to determine, is the tip of the Y gonna fall off and I be a masculine, or is the X gonna stay solid and I be female? All right. He trying hard, but I'm not a dummy. Okay. Let's go. Did I read this part? Hence, not only the variety of chromosomal combinations, but also the actual operation of chromosomes themselves argue for continuum of sex types. What he should be trying to do is try to accept himself instead of trying to say 0.00033% I'm talking about that. No, you're just clowning. Finally, it is quite clear that in modern society, there you go again, sex chromosomes would be a species suspicious by basis for separating people into two classes, male and female. If we were to separate people because of different kinds of chromosomes, created different kinds of reproductive capabilities. What? If we were to separate people because of different kinds of chromosomes, which we do, male and female, create because of different kinds of chromosomes. If we were to separate people because of different kinds of chromosomes. Okay, I think he's a run-on sentence here. Where's the comma? It's down there. Create different kinds of reproductive capabilities. Create different kinds of. That's not possible. Because you probably won't be able to create. It's like a mule and a donkey kind of thing. There's a variance of a horse. I think a horse and a donkey create a mule, I think. But the mule can't reproduce because even though it's a variance of that. Anyway. Interesting. I had to read that several times because the wording was like a run-on. If we were to separate people because of different kinds of chromosomes, yeah, this should be like a semicolon. If we were to create people because of different kinds of chromosomes, semicolon, then we would create different kinds of reproductive capabilities. Doesn't make sense. How would we account for the legitimacy of biological and intentional infertile person? You, boy, bruh. Some people come with deformities. That's how you answer for that. This dude went saying all that. I had to read it 3-4 times because I was like, he trying something here. Even his punctuation isn't right. Man. In a February 1994 review of in vitro fertilization, shouldn't it be together in vitro fertilization? Scientific American estimates that there are 3 million biologically infertile couples. What the hell that got to do with anything? Do they have a private part that's male, and do they have a private part that's female? That's all that matters. If it does not work, then evidently somebody must have took some medicine and messed the child up. why they had the child. Somebody may have a deformity. Do this guy even know that exists? Is that what he's talking about when he say accident and in the first page? No, that's not what he's talking about. Ooh, girl. Anyway, let's move forward. Okay. This man a hot mess. If we were to separate people because different kinds of chromosomes created different hormonal states, how would we account for the legitimacy of millions of people who alter their hormonal balance through daily pharmaceutical hormones? So now you want to jump on the hormone part. Well, if we can manipulate the hormone, then that means that, how can we account for those people that have to take hormone medicine to balance their hormone? Go back to the avatar. From the beginning, before it comes out. Take an ultrasound. What the baby got? It's a boy. Okay, what that one got? Oh, that's a girl. That's a boy. Oh, okay, we can see it in the ultrasound. Woo! Before we come out here and act a fool. Now, sometimes what happened is, I heard that walk-ins or body snatchers, what they do is, especially the ones that are very, very aggressive, what they do is they wait till a baby about to be born, they jump in and they get in that baby's body and they have a new life again. So maybe this is what this person's fussing about. Nobody told you to body snatch. Nobody told you, because body snatchers don't ask for permission. Nobody told you to body snatch. Now, I thought they said this was a boy and this a girl. That's your fault. That's your accident. Because I really do believe there's something else going on and it's ritualistic. I do believe. Because when I touched that damn book, I was like, nobody need to be reading this. This person's like intensely. Anyway, but I'm gonna try to just get through it anyway. Okay, so let's see here. Y'all see I don't make it too far, do I? This is just about, I'm gonna read it, and I'm trying to be logical in my reading. I'm trying not to call it biphonerism at its finest, but it's like, I'm an intellectual person. And yes, I do understand my 7 chakras. I do understand them. I know why you need to work all of them. They all need to be managed by the top 1, 2, 3, 4. The top 4 need to manage the bottom 3, because the bottom 3 will make you bestial. A goon will make you just like what Took had in his belly. Okay? On SG1. Okay, so let's see here. It'll just make you a person, which a person is just a monster or animal. It's not what you think. But they won't tell you that, will they? So let's see where I was at, y'all. Because y'all be tripping and stuff. Okay. Clearly, ability to reproduce in one manner or another would not create a consistent category of male and female persons. That's illogical, right there. Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good.
Oh, can I see your face right quick?
This is what I have to deal with.
Hey.
Hey.
I just want to let you know we made it back. I got a little paperwork to do, and then I'll be heading away.
He's infamous for wanting to try to put his voice on my video.
Are you still recording?
Yes, I am.
Oh, well, can you pause it just for 1 second? I just need to say something. Let me know when you pause.
So, I'm going to move on. That was my hubby. Alright, so, I don't know why he needs to tell me he's heading to the house. He always interrupted my videos. He know my videos go too long as it is, even though he enjoys them when he watches them. The point is, trying to make this video shorter than the last video. Okay, so it says here, but I do appreciate your call. I love you, appreciate you. Do what you say you're going to do. Thank you very much, sir. If we were to separate people because of different kinds of chromosomes create different hormonal states, how would we account for the legitimacy of millions of people who alter their hormonal? They doing it. You got to go to the original. through daily pharmaceutical hormones. That's them choosing to confuse their own life. God. That's why we say don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Because chaos ensues. Then it's just like the government. They go do something. They don't think it through. And then everybody suffer. And then they say, ooh, we thought it was safe and effective. Ooh, y'all better not say it ain't. YouTube, shut that video off. Instagram, Rumble, don't let them say it's not. Because everybody think Rumble got it going on. But let me tell you something. Rumble treated me just like YouTube treated me. And they can share. You can share your files from YouTube to Rumble. They're not a different system. They're just fooling you. All right, I'm doing pretty good here. And if I'm fussing, because y'all know that's how I am. Okay, let's see here. In this regard, it should also be noted that as people age, their hormonal levels continue to decline, creating a convergence between male and female hormone states in mature adults. Absent estrogen replacement theory, ERT, post-menopausal women often begin to sprout facial hairs and acquire deeper voices, such as myself. Older men and women begin to look more transgender. You need to stop! Woo! This here! Boy, you running it too deep. You're playing a game. Look more more transgender. This dude a fool. Let me read this over. This dude's a fool. Boy, you arrogant. You arrogant. Older men and women begin to look more transgender. More like each other than in their youth. Dude! Where's the integrity? Where is the responsibility? How in the world could you just be so crybaby behind you not being able to get your way when you're young, and then you want to throw all the older people under the bus? It begins with the original avatar. Please, if you ever see my video, I purchased your book, bro. I sent you money. So now it's my book I'm reading. Okay? Such are transient efforts of chromosomal and resultant chromosomal states. Y'all, this is true. It is true that there is not a lot of biochemistry behind a set of genitals. Y'all, this dude off the chain. It is true that there is a lot of It is true that there is a lot of biochemistry behind a set of genitals. Okay, thank you. Nevertheless, because he don't want to hear all that bull crap he's saying, that biochemistry is as irrelevant as the genitals themselves as a basis for categorizing people into two classes. Now, this is strongly his opinion. This is called self-projection. This is how he feels about his own testes. This is how he feels about his own sack. He hates his own sack, not realizing that his sack has living organisms in them. Things that move around, that have energy in them. Nevertheless, there is no hard and fast biochemistry line that separates men from women. Po baby, he still don't get it. Just a continuum of biochemistry levels with most women towards one end, most men towards the other end, and much overlap and variance in between. A knife and a quote somebody from Brown University, genetics, recently observed that sex is a vast continuum that defines the constraints of categories. Okay, y'all. To stay out of chaos, you have to accept that in the genome, in order for life to reproduce, if y'all hadn't heard of this, when you hear about the tree, the garden, remove the garden, remove the tree, remove Adam and Eve, put Atom, bring in Enki the scientist, bring in his wife, bring in the other scientists who are Anunnaki. They geno. They practice to make vessels that can reproduce of their own kind. They finally got it to work. Okay? They made a lot of humanoids that could not reproduce. They had hormones, they had chromosomes, but they could not reproduce after their own kind. These Anunnaki Elohims, as they're called, they're not. I don't claim them as my Elohim. I don't claim no Elohim. Let's say it like that. I want to be very clear about that because I don't want to be lying that I claim anything. But I do acknowledge the great work that they did making these avatars, because they did make them initially for labor, as he's talking about division of labor. But he's not mentioning that story, the division of labor, if he wants to go that route. Yes, the division of labor was done by the Anunnakis, the Elohims, the ones that come in ships, the ones that probably, some of them are on the living inside the earth. That's you can put whole cities on the earth if you want to. They got technology for that. After the Great Deluge, Enki saved one of his sons that he had slept with. Did he sleep with her or did he do a genome? I think he did a genome. And his anyway, the whole point is I don't want to go into that because that'll take me down a whole another rabbit hole of information. Look into it, people. But I know some stuff that I'm not talking about, but I do talk about it on other videos. Go look at my own playlist about the don't be foods of the gods. Don't be foods, Foods, foods of the gods. Okay. All right. The Elohims. They don't have to be your gods. They don't have to be his gods or her gods, but that's what people call them. Okay. Behind her observation was a new research showing that as many as 4% of all births are to some extent intersex, meaning the infant has portions of both male and female organs, often internal and hence generally undiscoverable. And that can be a twin, intersex. Do I think those people, if they really have two organs, could choose what role they want to play? Of course, because it's a deformity. But if I was that person, I would be, if I was their parent, I would always do neutral things just to watch your child, see what that avatar leans towards, and don't force anything on that child because that child's intersex, because that child does have a deformity, that child does have, let's say that child's twin was masculine and they're feminine. You got to see which twin is actually going to be the one that actually is present. Okay, what registers? But he's talking about this low percent. He said 4%. It's probably that 0.003%, tenth of a percent. Even the presence of nipples on men is evident of some amount of universal intersexuality. Look, I've seen some dudes that have breasts bigger than mine, but they don't have the tissue structure, the milk ducts and all that. They don't have that. They do have 5 things like the rest. They have 5 things like women, but not the rest of the stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. Chromosomes provide no logical, consistent basis for creating social, legal categorization of people into male and female. That's why I was talking about the avatar. And that's why I was giving flexibility with hermaphrodites, even though they say intersex. The hermaphrodites intersex because they're sincerely put in a situation where deformity has caused them, their body not to identify itself properly. And that comes from other outside forces, maybe medication, maybe smoking, maybe drinking, maybe doing drugs. Who knows? But just a person who mentally going through something, and you just don't like yourself because you've been through sexual rituals, whether it's in the church or whether it's in Hollywood or whether it's in Bohemian Grove, wherever it is, whether it's on the island, Epstein Island, or other islands, islands that Diddy go to, islands that Jay-Z go to, all these people, the Hawaiian Island, all them the billionaires live on the island. They want that island, and painted those roofs blue. All right, so there are too many exceptional chromosomal combinations, and the net result of the chromosomes, hormonal levels, both vary continuously across all people and may be altered easily by pharmaceuticals, while there are systematic chromosomal differences among people. And for any, let me go to page 5 of my book right quick, finish that thought out for you. Any gene pool, why are he using this? Semitic, he should say Shemitic, Asian, African, Nordic, we would not use such difference as a basis for creating separate legal categories for each gene pool. It would appear equally absurd that such an abundance, variable and alterable thing was such as hormone levels could provide the basis for fundamental division of humanity into two such species, male and female. Look, you can have a male Semitic, a female Semitic. You can have a male Asian, a female Asian. You can have a male African. Well, there's no such thing as African for the tribes, but the people that live on the continent called Africa, you can have a male Ethiopian, a female Ethiopian. You can have I don't even know if this is true. Are these people called Nordic male, Nordic female? So yeah, I mean, that's not hard to understand. The category still works here. I think ultimately the game is to have access to children, like Mr. Beast's co-host. That's all I gotta say about that. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and I appreciate you always for listening and watching.